Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Welcome members and guests. We now come to order, and we'll start with the invocation from Lucy Bagwell.
Good morning. Precious Lord, we do love and thank you for all you are accomplishing here in the fall season of 2024. Forgive us for our sins, preserve and use our insights and contributions of ourselves as we serve you in the service of others. We offer you our very best as you lead us to your victory daily. For we know that from 1 Peter 5:7, we cast all our care upon you, for you care for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
We now call to confirm the quorum from Madam Secretary. Thank you. Minutes of August 8th, 2024. Are there any comments? We can assume that they're, we'll call for approval. Does anybody disapprove? All right, thank you very much. The Treasurer's Financial Report, Marie Oates.
Good morning. I'm going to do 2 months' worth because I was out of the country last month. So we began July with $96,377. We had income from the wood shop of $35, Employee Appreciation Fund $4,550, and interest income of $188. We spent for large print books $289, engraving for the memorial leaf of $30, and postage stamps so I can mail our bills. And I bought them a little early because postage went up and I wanted to take advantage of the savings. So that was $14. In August, we had income for Memorial Leaf of $100, for the Employee Appreciation Fund $11,545, and interest income of $170, and I had no expenses. So that left us a balance of $112,632. I'd also like to read a letter because for the Employee Appreciation Fund, we had a significant amount come in from as a memorial for someone who passed during August. So here goes. Please accept these donations in memory of Joan Eckert for the Employee Appreciation Fund. She loved everyone who worked with her. Her family is so very grateful for her care in Willowbrook and in Oak Ridge. Any questions? Okay, have a great day.
All right, Marie, thank you very much. We appreciate your report. We're now happy to report the Executive Director, Scott Cairns.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm nearing the end of my 3rd month. I can't believe it. It has flown by, but it's been wonderful. Thanks to all of you and the wonderful team we have here as well. I'm going to give a house update, or houses update, because I know I get asked that a lot. Our home in Florida is scheduled to close October 8th, so knock on wood, that continues and goes on as planned. And we found a home here in the Gainesville area. So we are scheduled to close on that October 21st. Happened to be a new home that was about 90% complete. So my wife, as she loves to do, was able to do the last 10% of picking out this, that, and the other. So she feels like she's had a great impact on that. But it's a really nice piece of property with some land near about 3 miles from the Olympic Village, whatever, training center, et cetera. So a really nice little area that we're looking forward to. I wanted to be, it's funny, you ask a few friends that live local, and I said, I want to be 15 to 18 minutes from work. And this is about 16 or 17 minutes, depending on traffic, which isn't much that way. So we're really thrilled, and a lot going on, but we're pleased that it's progressing. Some hiring updates. The only major position we have open is the restaurant manager, Chad's former position, and Chad is conducting interviews to fill that position. We do have a few internal candidates. ACT's policy, as I agree with, is to interview internal candidates, make sure they feel valued, thank them for wanting to move up the chain, and so that will be taking place, as well as external candidates that he feels are qualified. Once he determines, narrows it down, I'll become more involved and we'll interview them together and go from there. But we're not going to, like we didn't with his position, we're not going to move too fast because we want the right person. It's a very important position. 2025 community visit and budget. In August, on August 7th, we had the corporate team, a leadership team. Many of them come visit the community. They were very impressed. We toured them and discussed priority areas that I had determined based on resident input and team member input. We discussed future capital dollars use and the fact that we, like probably every community, feels like we need more capital dollars to keep things up around the community. We met with our resident executive committee team over lunch, and then they also took the extra step of listening to our community leadership team. So we set up a very similar square like this, about 20 of our leadership team members from my team, and it was wonderful. They made every individual say something about the community, something that they feel is needed, something great about the community, because not everyone likes to talk, especially to the leadership team of the company. But with that, they took a lot of notes. They listened to the team members. They listened to the resident executive team, and we're moving forward with a lot of the stuff that we feel needs to be accomplished. We have to prioritize it, though. That's obviously important. Then the following day on August 8th, we had our budget meeting. The finalized budget will be coming out in October. At that time, I will meet with Ed and a representative from the corporate team, and we'll have a Teams call where it will be presented to all 27 communities, the budget for next year. Nothing further on that besides that will be taking place on October 24th. Yesterday, we had a very successful sales event. We had up to 50 or 60 prospective waitlist members that attended a great function with the resident panel here, and we've gotten many positive responses from those in attendance about hearing from the residents, hearing from the staff members or team members. But it's more important when they hear from the residents because you actually live here and can tell them what it's like, you know, what you look forward to or what you don't look forward to, best practices on downsizing and moving in and things of that sort. So they were very thankful for that, and thank you to all the volunteers who helped with that. An upcoming service awards, it's a team member service awards event, will be on September 23rd, and that's for our team members celebrating anywhere from 5 up to 40 years of service in 5-year increments. We'll be recognizing about 25 team members. They'll be bringing a guest, and we do a nice little presentation for them, beautiful dinner, thanking them for their years of service and continuing to encourage them to stay. We've got quite a few members we'll be recognizing. As I've mentioned in the weekly update, the Resident Quarterly Town Hall will take place on September 24th at 11 a.m. here in the auditorium. That will take the place of the forum on the 26th. So we'll just be having the town hall this month. The video will be shown It's going to be shown in advance that you can watch it prior to the meeting, so send in questions to me so I can send them to the other folks. But we're also going to be showing it at the meeting for those that might not have seen it before the meeting. Ask the Director. I will be restarting the Ask the Director meetings on the second Tuesdays of each month, starting at 11 a.m. on October 8th. That will be in the meeting room, and I'll be inviting each floor representative from the main building, a representative from the East and West Cottages, and the Executive Committee if they would like to attend. I will send out invitations, and I will ask for questions in advance, and that's what I'll be addressing during that meeting. That's how I've heard it's been done in the past, and that's what I plan on doing moving forward. It's flexible, so if the first meeting doesn't go as planned, I might change it a little bit, but I want to see how this goes. So plan on that. For those of you that are representatives, I'll be sending out an invitation. And that's really what I had for today. Any questions for me?
What about the pool?
What about the pool?
Asked a lot, put it in.
Yeah, so
Soon is something.
soon is not what I said, but and I'm not going to say soon. And I don't have what I put in the link, but I do know that the vendor that had been used over the years no longer is chosen to work with us. So we had to bring in a new vendor, which takes some time. It's not like it can be done overnight. That new vendor has been set up. They've given us a price. Actually, I think I have an email that I need to approve the price and move forward with that. So don't have a date, but also don't have soon. Anything else? But it's a priority, and I know it's taken too long, and I apologize. Welcome. Here's one of our great team members. Thank you for all you do. All right, thank you all.
Well, thank you, Scott. We're privileged to have you here, doing a very active job, so welcome. As far as President's comments, remarks, the first thing is, as you know, Abbott Massey passed away, and he was a member of the Executive Committee, and so he will be replaced by C.W. Marlowe. So we can approve him in absentia. So thank you. The main thing that has been accomplished, and it's not completely done, is the coordination between the retired treasurers and the resident board, our resident board. And due to certain illnesses, we have not completed the necessary work, but it will be done. And basically, the idea is that RTI, retired treasurers, and the resident board will each put a member of their board on the board of the other entity. So this is a very important step forward because there had been some minor conflict. But in any event, that will take place. So we will have a member of this resident board on the RTI board and a member of the RTI board on the resident board. And all that will be spelled out in a detailed document. There will also be a new document, which we haven't really completed yet, between, again, the resident board and the RTI board, and that will be taking place. A lot of people have asked about the relationship between the two and where we're headed and so forth, and I wish we had a lot of more detail to offer you now, but very shortly, when all the members that are present in the boards, we will have a document that's circulated to every member of this resident board. So you will be informed exactly what's the plan. And we will discuss that then at the October board meeting, open discussion as it said here, and we will have an open discussion at the October board and presumably take a vote to approve the documents. So we look forward to that. And that's really brings us up to date as to where we stand. I'm sorry it's taken so long, and I'm sorry because we've had some illness, which is unfortunate, but that's the plan. Is there any new business?
Can I ask about what you just discussed?
Sure.
I thought we were going to discuss it today. I'd like to. Oh, microphone, good idea. Yeah, thank you. I assume it's ready to go, right? I said I would like to just discuss a couple items about this issue since we were going to discuss it today, I thought. So I would like to go back to Go, and I'm not being for or against anything at this stage, but I'd like to know what was the original reason why or purpose of why we're doing this when things were going along pretty, what are we going to gain by this?
Well, that's a very good question.
Right, well, you were president and you obviously put it on the agenda, so I assume we have an answer for that.
Well,
I'll answer your question.
go ahead.
Is this one on? Well, I did. There we go. Several months ago, at the beginning of the year, I think retired treasurers wanted to make sure that they were operating on a very legal status.
Okay.
And so they decided that they would incorporate. They got legal counsel. They got financial counsel. Well, this is the Retired Treasurers Board, and Special Projects got together, and they decided that they would form a corporation. Unfortunately, where the rub came in a little bit on that was the executive committee board. This board did not know that that was happening, and so it got off on the wrong foot in the beginning. However, they formed that committee, and they wanted to make sure that they are paying sales tax. They're making sure that they are a 501c3 corporation, which means that they are a charity and your donations to that can be tax deductible. These were some benefits that the legal counsel and the financial counsel gave recommendations to them that said that it was absolutely necessary that they do this. And because over the years, back, we were giving out slips to people who donated, and they were thinking that they could deduct them on their income taxes. And my rationale to that is, yes, you can deduct it on your income taxes, but if you're ever audited, it's going to be disallowed because it's not a 501c3. So retired treasurers wanted to correct that. And so that's why they became a corporation, and they have their 501c3 status now. And that's the main reason behind doing all this.
Okay, I understand that we were not informed as a board that this was happening, which was troubling. But now what has happened is that they have incorporated. They don't have a business license, I don't believe, and we have to go through the inspections and all that. I used to do a lot of this stuff. So the point is now we have a board that has been self-appointed, and they are putting in bylaws. I read them. There's a couple problems with them. There's a couple inadequacies. They contradict. But whatever the case, it was a boilerplate, probably from a legal guy, and didn't read part of it. But whatever the case, there's $100,000 and some involved that people have donated so far, and there's certainly in the Special Projects Fund. plus inventory, and does that just automatically go into this new entity for which the board has, they'll have a member on it, but has really no input or control over that? I'm just asking a few basic questions.
Okay, is there any representative here who would like to answer some of these questions? Don Langen is here.
Dwayne, what were your questions?
The first one was why we are doing this, you know, the purpose of it. And I, you know, attempted to answer that. And then I'm asking, since we did not know about it as a board at all, and these voluntary, I'm not against treasurers, I'm all for it, I think they do a wonderful job. But all of a sudden, some people decided to form another entity, and board members on their own without any appointed from here, because special projects still was under here, right? As affiliated board, or who owns the 100,000? Who owns the inventory? Who is liable for if somebody falls down the stairs at Axe? Do they sue Axe or?
Axe is liable, yes.
They're liable for that, even
Right.
though it's not our. I mean, there's a number of issues there, and we have not heard any of those. I thought we were going to discuss them today. That's why I'm bringing them up.
The reason for this was legal and financial counsel expressed to us all the problems potential problems if we didn't incorporate. We are incorporated now. We're registered with the state of Georgia. We have a EIN number,
Sure.
the sales tax certificate from the state, IRS recognition as a 501c3. The one thing we don't have yet is the business license. Do we really need a business license? That's a question, but,
I think so.
well, that you think so. I
If we're
don't,
gonna have
we don't
tax
know.
deductible- Go ahead.
Pardon?
If we're gonna have people taking tax deductibles off their taxes.
We're a 501c3.
I
We
understand
don't
that.
need the business license for that.
Well, Hall County would think so, I think. I don't know.
Anyway,
I just have done this
the-
a lot, and that's what typically has
the
happened. Gwinnett
reason-
County and other places.
The reason we don't have the business license yet is that Axe sent out an architect earlier this week, and they're doing their due diligence before they will allow us to complete the business license applications. We've gone through the application, we've gone through zoning, planning and zoning with approvals. We're just waiting for the fire marshal and the inspectors. And as soon as Axe gives us the okay, then we can get those. And we don't anticipate any problem.
Right. I don't disagree with everything that you're trying to do. I'm just asking some informative questions, such as we have now over $100,000 and some at last I heard, in the funds, and we have inventory, and I wondered who owns that and how does that on what circumstances does that happen?
LVE retired treasurers
They-
oversees that.
Right,
But
but who owns
this
it
is-
right now? Is that owned by Axe and us people, or is that owned by this group of board?
By the board.
They own them, and who gave them that?
This happened, this started 20 years ago, Dwayne. It didn't just start today.
No, I
this
understand
week.
that, but we're talking about a change of, I'm not trying to be anti, I'm just trying to question. So who transferred that money to this board that was self-appointed?
It's been there all along.
Yeah, but who owned it? Would Axe own it? Is that-
It's special projects owned it, if you want to put an ownership on it.
Right. And who-
And special projects is part of the LVE Retired Treasurers, Inc.
Don, I think we ought to make clear too that Special Projects was never under the resident board. It was a board affiliated committee, but it was never under the board.
And until 2018, it was just floating out there
Mhm.
with no supervision. The administration didn't want it, and the board
Okay,
didn't want it.
right. I'm just interested in the structure changes, and we're now making a structure with all the stuff, and that we need to be careful. I know that you're trying to be. So, for example, in the bylaws, it says that all people will be volunteers. Later on, it says there will be payment to officers or something if they want it. And that's incongruous, and if the bylaw is ever reviewed, that automatically that makes it that bylaw isn't any good anymore. That's what the law would say when there's some conflict. But things like that.
I don't have the bylaws in front of me, so
Right, well, I read
I
them.
can't answer
Well, okay.
your question right now.
Right, that's okay. I just read them, and that's what it says. And so it makes me wonder about some other things. I don't know how the rest of the board, if I'm the only one, I'll give up. But if other people, because we weren't informed originally. So
Do you have a problem with the way special projects is funded projects here? You know,
No, I do not, Don.
special projects, over the years, has funded $400,000 in
Right.
projects.
And I'm very grateful
Here
for
at
that.
LVE.
Right. We got, for example, extra carts that we needed in the second floor east and stuff like that. So, no, I'm not against special projects, and not unless, but you guys aren't always gonna be here. You or Augie or any of the board. This is something we're setting up now that's gonna continue.
Correct.
And we need to be careful about the future and who would be. I understand in there, one of my questions first was, did all the monies that would come back go or be gained, would that go for LVE people only? And it does say that in there, it would. You know, instead of, with the board right now, there were a couple of questions as to who could become a board member. And, you know, we're going outside now with our internet stuff
Well,
and
to-
all this. So there's just a lot of, it distances
To set up
the
this.
donations that we give here, it distances those donations to
Can I
here.
answer your
So-
question?
Yes, please.
To set up this nonprofit corporation, we had to get people who understood the whole operation, and that was Special Projects Committee.
Okay,
So the board is made up of Special Projects Committee members
okay,
exclusively right now.
right.
But that's not going to be the case in the future. We will have a resident association board member, and we would definitely like to bring in some members from outside special projects and outside the resident board.
Really? Okay. Go ahead, Marie.
I have a comment to make, as far as, I am very much for retired treasurers. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yes.
But if you're incorporated in the state of Georgia. Okay. Hello? If you're incorporated in the state of Georgia selling something, you must have a business license, and you should go to the Georgia law, and you will find that, because I did. And it doesn't matter if you're selling in your home, a building, on the street, you must have a business license. So that has to be a for sure thing. I guess my other question is anybody filing sales tax? I hope so, because I heard rumor, this is just a rumor, that we were not gonna file sales tax returns until we became incorporated.
That's
Right.
not true.
Okay, well, that's good news. That's very good news.
Dan Walker is the
Okay.
treasurer, and he's
And
been
he's
filing
doing- okay.
sales
That's
tax.
good. So, that's my comment.
May I make a comment, please? I want everybody to understand that as we went through this process, our former executive director, Pam Kaufman, was always in our meetings, you know, everyone is invited to these special projects meetings. They're open to everyone. But Pam was the one who went to Axe and worked out a lease for the property and the insurance for us. So we were not just doing things on our own. We had good counsel all the way.
The substantive issue about this whole matter is this board was never informed that this action was taking place. We found out about it in a information sheet that was published by Augie. If you read the bylaws of this board, you are affiliated with us. It says that you have to notify us or notify the board that you want to do something. So at the beginning, at least our reading of this was that you were in violation of the LVE Residence Board, okay? So that's it. But the real issue, Kitty, is you may have thought we all knew about it, but we didn't. And that was a bad start from our standpoint.
I think we've got those issues ironed out now, and we have an agreement, but really we're thinking of it as an alliance between two boards. We're going to swap members, and Guy?
Yeah, and I truly agree with that. And we've worked very hard to make all that happen, and I think we're at, I hope, the 99% solution on that issue. And we look forward to participating with representatives from here and then also representatives from Retired Treasurers, Inc. And I think the way it's set up, it will work. It's just the way we started the action caused turmoil that didn't need to occur. And in essence, you said, by your actions, we do not have to tell you what we're doing. Any way you look at it, that's it, okay? So I'm ready to put all that stuff behind me, but I want people to understand how this thing got started. And nobody wants to talk about it. The problem is, we have repeatedly asked, who gave you permission to do this? Now you tell me it was Pam. But in meeting after meeting with representatives, you would not divulge that. It just really bothers me that we couldn't get to an honest beginning.
I thought it was common knowledge that Pam gave us, that we had conversations with Pam, and she...
Well, there were rumors, Don, we had a lot of rumors, that's the problem. And the rumors from Pam was that she was not for it, but someone had told us that she was, and that corporate wasn't. So, I mean, that was the first rumor I heard about Pam's involvement. The board, you're saying that we could have some outside LVE people on the future board. That bothers me a bit. But the
that
board
bothers you?
Yes. Currently, you have saying that there's 2 years for certain. You've staggered the board, which is good.
Correct.
And you have 1-year terms, and then you have 2-year terms.
Correct.
And then you say the board can decide who the next board members are. It doesn't say they couldn't secede them, keep their positions by deciding to. I'm just wondering about the future again. I have no problem with Don or Kitty or Augie. I mean, all you guys I trust and know you. It's just that we're setting up organization.
Can you tell me who's going to take your place on the resident board 2 years from now or 4 years from
Well,
now?
my position is up this year, so Lynn Sharp is taking it. But
You know, that's what I'm getting at. We can't,
well, you could put a phrase in there that only, you cannot secede yourself, or you could put a phrase in there. There are a lot of things you could do to take care of that.
we think it's very important to bring, when I say outside directors, that's outside of special projects, outside of the resident board, but residents of LVE. And I
And
could
what-
name you several right off
Okay,
the
and
top
what
of my
would
head.
their benefits be? A distance is more.
Pardon?
I said, and what would their influence be that we couldn't have from here? Those outside board members.
Well, we'll get their input.
Passing the torch? It's on now. So I have not read any of this, obviously, and I wasn't involved, but I'm hearing, it's conflicting in my head, members of, that can be on that board. I think some, or maybe all in here are understanding that it can be outside persons from the LVE resident base.
Sure.
That is true?
Sure.
But I'm hearing you, I think you're kind of making me believe that it has to be outside of special projects or outside of RTI, but still residents of LVE.
Still residents of LVE.
So no outside LVE residents can be on any board? So people from the community, local community that are not residents here, can they be on any board?
No.
Okay.
That clarifies it.
Is that what the bylaws say, or should you relook at that?
Well,
Go ahead, Don.
I can't really say what the bylaws say on that, but that's we may have to
Intention.
clear that wording up. That-
Okay. It sounds like everybody would feel better if it were restricted to only LVE residents.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you for the discussion, Mr. President. We need to have some.
Well, I think we'll have more
We're trying to accomplish it's the same goal.
exactly, but I think we'll have more discussion at the next meeting, and everyone will have the benefit of the written material, which is not yet published.
Dwayne, you mentioned a couple times that the board hasn't been involved, but the Resident Association Executive Committee has been dealing with the RTI board, so. And I can't comment on that, so.
Don,
Okay.
thank you very much for. Well, we were at new business. Is there any other new business? The next is the 8 different board committees. The first is bylaws with Richard is another one that's taking care of his wife, so he could not attend. But what he assures me is that the bylaws committee of the resident board has agreed, and as soon as they get the final blessing from one of the members, it'll be publicized and distributed to every member of this board. But he assures me that the committee, the bylaws committee, has approved what's being written. So the next is culinary with Judy Lee.
Okay, in an effort to be brief, I'll tell you that the August Culinary Committee didn't meet before the board meeting, but you've all seen the minutes from that meeting. So I want to elaborate but on one issue, and that was that Chad Whitehead was selected as the new Director of Culinary and Nutrition Services, and the committee is thoroughly enjoying working with him in that capacity. He's doing a great job. Our September meeting, we had 344 residents and guests at Labor Day meal. That was very popular. We're getting new green reusable food containers, but we think more education needs to be done on requesting those and getting them back, because if they're not rinsed out and returned by the residents, we've defeated the purpose of buying the more expensive containers. I'm pleased to tell you that we had a very good response to the culinary survey, 68.4% response. That's phenomenal for a survey. And Scott has said that after the results are analyzed, the report will be released to the residents. Chad went through and enumerated some of his goals in his new position, including updating the menus in reservations in Sydney's by October the 1st, enhancing the Sunday brunch, having weekly specials in the bistro, and making sure residents are apprised when there's a problem that affects us. Also, one of the main things we're trying to pass along to the residents is if you have a problem with your meal, please ask to see a manager. The servers usually cannot help you, but a manager can, and we're hopeful that they'd be able to resolve your concern immediately and you wouldn't go away unhappy with your meal. We still need 4 servers and 2 cooks. And Brian Farkas, our executive chef, has asked residents to let culinary know of dishes you would like to see on our menus. A good way to do that is the use of our culinary comment cards, and then to the extent that he can, he'll start trying to incorporate some of those requests into the meal planning. There are frequent suggestions that we receive about leftover foods and donating that food. There are a number of liability issues associated with that that we have to be aware of. So what we're doing in sort of an alternative way is we're really looking at the statistics we get on the food we're preparing and what we get back, what's not eaten, and we're trying to plan more carefully to avoid wasting food. Let's see, more wine glasses. That's a big deal. We've ordered more wine glasses. And then comments in conversation with the committee and guests. Bring back the omelet station at brunch, but we have to realize that requires providing additional personnel to man the omelet station. Breakfast for dinner was so popular. Do it again. Speak to a manager. I know I sound like a broken record if you're not happy with your food, so we can do something immediately. Water glasses on the table are too full, and that results in some spilling on the table. That's a server training issue, so we'll work on that. Server name tags are hard to read, and some servers don't wear them, so that's, again, a training issue. And if you didn't know, drinks in the drink machines downstairs can be ordered upstairs, but that means your server has to go downstairs and get the drink for you. But those drinks are available to you upstairs as well. Any questions? Yes, Guy.
Not a question, just a comment. The quality of the food and the preparation has significantly improved, Judy. I'm telling you, sometimes you would eat and not know what you were eating. We called it mystery meat. But the taste of the food has significantly improved. And I got some picky people over there, but I just, how do we say thank you to the staff there? But this is a giant leap forward from what we were doing. I like the fact we have uniforms now. Looks like a professional organization. Hats, shirts, breeches. Oh, that is great. So thank you for whatever you've been doing.
Thank you. I'll pass those comments along. Anyone else? Scott.
Wait for it to turn. There it is. All right. Green containers. You mentioned that.
Yes.
I just want to specify that the returning of them is what's key. We put them through our wash, so they don't have to be perfect. Rinsed out would be ideal. But we also put them through the wash when they come back. The key is returning them. I didn't want you thinking we rely on residents to wash them and then we put them back into circulation. We do put them through the washer.
Right. Thank you, Scott. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Next is housekeeping, Betty Nansfield.
Well, one thing I've learned this morning is I'm glad I'm on housekeeping and not some of these other committees. We had a guest, and that was Chess. Ray Leach is always a guest and always welcome, but I want some men on our committee. We have got no men, and we need input from men as well. Now, I've had some issues come up this week with, and I would like to know if anybody is having any issues with mold in the bathroom, in their bathroom. I mean the black mold. Does anybody know how to get rid of it? We've tried bleach. Now we're not using bleach products in our cleaning, but I once heard that you use ammonia on mold, leave it 24 hours, and then use bleach. But if anybody has a suggestion, I would certainly welcome it. Now, when Chess came to visit us in housekeeping, I think he was expecting a donut, and I did not have the donuts. So I want, Chess, I want you to come back and visit, and I will have donuts at our next meeting. Okay, enough of that silly talk. We have 5 openings in housekeeping. That seems to be a real area of turnover. But 2 were expected to be filled by the 1st of September, and I think they were. I have not had that confirmed by Lupe. It was brought up how many apartments per day were cleaned, and it's 15 to 17 per day. So that's a lot of apartments to clean, and I would challenge any of you that to do 15 to 17 apartments. I mean, I can hardly do one, my one. And I hope everybody remembered that on holidays, we do not have cleaning services. I don't know if anybody asked you about it, but if they do, on holidays, we skip the cleaning service. So whoever is expecting it on, say if most holidays are on Monday. So if you're cleaning, it's on Monday. During the holiday, you will not see the cleaners. Spider webs. I know you are sick of me talking about spider webs, but everybody sees them, especially coming down the hallway on the 4th floor. They are being addressed. We're having window cleaning done in the month of October, I believe. That's on the agenda. So the window cleaning will start then, and we will have sparkling clean windows with spider webs gone. Insects. If you are having any problem at all outside your cottage or your apartment with ants or any other kind of insects, I had dirt daubers making homes outside my place, and they came the next week, but you have to fill out a work order, and they will come and spray if you will explain where the problem is. If you have ants, try to explain it as clearly as you can. Now, everyone invited to come to our next meeting, which is always in the meeting room at 1:30, and it's on September 24th. It's always on a Tuesday. I know Ray will be there. Chess, we'll look for you with donuts. Or anybody else that wants to come and visit, we'd love to have you. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Yes, Karen.
I was just going to say, I had my first deep cleaning, and they did a fabulous job.
That's good to hear. I think Manuel and some of his team are really doing a fabulous job with the deep cleaning. I have not heard any negatives. So please let me know if there are any. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Next is landscape, Carol Ann Armstrong.
Good morning and good news. The irrigation is up and running. It's not perfect. They're continuing to make repairs and evaluate zones, but there has been a lot of man-hours spent, and the retention pond the level is good. We have added grass carp, hopefully to eat the algae so the pump won't get stopped up. The current irrigation schedule for the main campus is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 12 a.m. and the cottages are Tuesday and Saturday. And if you notice an area that is not being irrigated, please let Stephen know, because they can't be everywhere all the time, but they are certainly working on it. And we hope to start replanting in late October. The path in the memory garden, we hope to get that resurfaced soon. The train garden still has the water feature that is not working, and it is an electrical problem, but they have water. There's one area that's not being irrigated, but if we get the electrical problem fixed, then that fountain will be working. A number of dead trees have been taken down, and there are others that will need to be removed. The bistro lawn will be sanded in the spring. It really looks pretty good now, finally, but it will have more attention then. There are a number of things that need to be replaced, and new landscaping will be done around the maintenance shed that's near Mount Vernon. Stephen hopes to eventually have fewer pine straw areas. LVE puts out 12,000 bales of pine straw twice a year. So we hope to reduce that. Replacing the color beds will also be done in late October. Plans for the chapel garden are 75% complete, then it will go out for bid, and we hope that construction will start in December. And there are a number of plants there that will be rescued. The landscape contract is currently out for bid, and a new contract will include the area on the hillside on Mount Vernon and re-landscaping around the clubhouse. One member suggested that a landscape director be hired because Stephen has an enormous job with the physical plant and the landscaping, because this place is huge and the landscaping is not your ordinary commercial landscape. Are there any questions? Good.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Thank you very much. Next is legislative issues.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, all. That's good. Excuse me a minute. The Legislative Issues Committee met in August 28th in this auditorium. Our guest was Martha Zala, who was a WDUN talk show host and politically astute, and had an interesting conversation with her, all parties there. I'm not going to go through the topics she covered as they're set out in the minutes, and a short discussion of the platforms of the various parties. She covered those. We're expecting the next meeting, we hope to have it on Monday, September 30th, where we'll have a guest. It'll be Drew Eccles, Georgia State Senator from Hall County, as well as his wife. His wife was a past state senator last season. Now Drew's going to be the senator next season, and they'll discuss the issues in the past one as well as the ones that were coming up. Everybody's invited to participate in that in the meeting room. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Larry. Next is life engagement, Carol Harden.
Hello. I'm just going to keep it short. We have a lot of stuff coming up, a lot of trips, a lot of activities, varied activities, and always good movies, thanks to Gail and her committee. And are there any questions? And did everybody enjoy the Eagles? Okay, good. And also the volunteer fair, we thought that went really well, but some people mentioned we didn't have a lot of new people coming. So hopefully we can work on getting new people coming to volunteer. So, thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Next is maintenance and safety, Herb Paul.
Okay, our last meeting was last Thursday, and we had about 20 or so items that were discussed during that meeting. I'm only going to talk about 4 or 5 of them. First of all, the dryer vents. We used to do that through a contractor. Now we're doing it through our in-house workforce. They will do 1 floor each month. 12 floors, so thanks goodness we have 12 months in a year. If you want to know, the first floor that was done was the west 5th floor, and it has been completed. The team is going to do a good job, I think. The next item I'd like to talk about is the dumpster and the broken glass that we used to continually find in the sidewalk between the loading dock and the dumpster location. The first thing that Stephen and the contractor did was they worked on the existing dumpster and closed it up as much as they could. Not only that, they have also had the workforce sweep the sidewalk several times a month to make sure that that's cleaner than it used to be. The critical item is that the new contract will call for a sealed dumpster to be used, and that should stop the drainage of the glass from the dumpster. And that new contract should take place here in about 6 to 8 weeks. The Next item I'd like to talk about is the tennis courts and the putting green next to the tennis courts. You will remember that for a couple of months now, we've been talking about the tennis court and the breakage of the concrete surface there in the tennis court. There are 3 or 4 locations in the tennis court that are broken. The first item that we looked at was what should we be doing? And of course, the main thing is to seal that court back up so that it's not a trip hazard. The second item was to turn it into a pickleball court. There are many, many people who play pickleball and would like to have a court nearby. So that's going to happen sometime probably next year. And that's mainly because of the funds available to do that. But in addition to that, we are looking at the putting green, and a lot of discussion about turning that into an outside eating area where we could put some stoves down there to cook food and have an area where the people could not only cook food but eat there next to the pickleball court. And that could happen next year if funds are available. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the charging stations. 2 charging stations have been approved. They will start putting charging stations, 2 of them, in the visitor parking area in front of the clubhouse. The charging stations are going to take some time to do. You need a lot of electricity. And so that should take place, though, hopefully in the next few months. That will take place. Once those are in place, then we will be looking at east for charging stations in that area. The last item I'd like to bring up is a pool heater, and thankfully we got a notice in the LV link, and that is on its way. And the main problem was the old contractor and getting a new contractor. Now the new contractor is now on board, and that contractor is going to purchase the heater for the pool and the sauna, and when he gets them, he'll install them. It appears that we're talking about 3 to 4 weeks, and that should be completed. I think that takes care of the ones that I was going to raise. Is there any other? Yes.
It didn't work with plugging up the dumpster. My dog, I heard a crunch, was eating glass the other day, and Sarah Pickard, she had a ton of glass on East. And also, she put in a work order because coming out of where the dumpster is on East, on the gazebo side, where the dog station is, it looks like unsanitary something that leaked out, and they're like stains all coming from the dumpster that they really need to address.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a charge, an extra charge for people who have electric vehicles when they plug up? How is that charged?
I think it's going to be a credit card thing, but.
Credit card, yes.
Thank you.
Herb, I get a lot of questions about, and I'm to your left, I get a lot of questions from people in West about the status of the elevators. What is the condition of the elevators in West?
Okay. probably what they were referring to was the, one of the double elevators in West was down, and was down for several weeks. It has been fixed and is in operation now. So
But-
that's back in operation. Not only that, it's my understanding that we're looking at all the elevators to make sure that all of them are working properly and will be working properly.
But it is very frustrating that they break down so often.
Yes.
But we've got a maintenance contract on them, but it's not always easy to repair them. So yes, they are being checked for mechanical, that they are up to speed, up to where they need to be.
Excuse me, what is the status of moving the car wash? That was supposed to be done in April, but
Okay. The car wash move from its present location to the sidewalk going to the dock area. That, we have gotten bids and all, so we know what each piece will cost to get that project accomplished. The problem right now is funds, and we don't have the funds to do that. Scott, have you got anything?
I don't have anything to add. It's just there's so many items that it's prioritizing, obviously, but yes, I'm gonna get some more information on the car wash move.
I have an issue that wouldn't cost much. I've lived here 2 years, and I cannot find a way to get to the tennis courts, and we need some signage up. I've called, and they said there's a sidewalk here and a sidewalk there. I walk a lot, and I've never found those sidewalks. So if you could just put up a little sign, it might be helpful.
I'll make note of that, yeah, maybe at that stop sign close to it, there could be a direction, a name and a direction.
Are there any other questions?
The stop sign, when you're coming down from WBC, before you take a right on Misty Morning, it's gotten really faded, and I think we need to replace it with a brighter red one.
Okay, I'll make note of that. Thank you. Okay, anything else? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Herb. Appreciate your report. The last of our 8 board committees is memorials. Assn Johnson.
Yes, good morning. The Memorial Committee met and addressed the progress of the Chapel Garden project, and the final plans will go out for 3 bids in late October and should be back in November. And hopefully the work will start in December and will be complete for early spring planting. So that's good news. The memorial benches are being identified as to where they are on the campus, the condition, we're rating them from 1 to 5 condition, and if there is a plaque on them. When a new bench now is purchased, they will replace a wooden bench. Benches without plaques will be replaced first, unless there is a bench that is in poor condition. If a bench has a plaque and needs replacing, we will remove the plaque and display it in an appropriate place. After much discussion, the committee wanted to have enough benches available for replacement for residents. Therefore, we are bringing a motion from the Memorial Committee for the board approval. So the motion that we're bringing is memorial benches may only be purchased for those who have lived in Lanier Village Estates.
I second the motion.
It doesn't really need seconding, it comes from the committee.
Yes.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Any
Very
other
good.
questions?
Any Anything else for Aston?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the next item is board affiliated committees, which will, at least for the time being, there will be none. But in any event, so Don, did you have anything more?
Nothing more.
All right, thank you very much. Now we switch to administrative committees. These are under the guidance of LVE management. First is campus improvement, Kitty Marlowe.
I'm sure you have all noticed that there's something going on in the clubhouse now. So we have a wonderful new color. Our painters did a fabulous job. And now Campus Improvement Committee is waiting for me outside to come and hopefully look at some samples that we have gotten from ACTS. I do want to reiterate, no furniture has been ordered. We are working with ACTS as best we can. You know, we lost our contact with them, Dwayne Strong, with the unfortunate accident and his passing. So we will get to it just as quickly as we can, but I don't think anything will happen until Christmas. The curtains are down, the pictures are down. There's no need to do anything until we know exactly what is going on. But in the meantime, there are 2 chairs from Crossroads that are at Millie's Drapery right now, and so they will be back in the next few weeks, and that will complete the renovation of that room. So any suggestions y'all ever have, I'm sure you will comment.
Kitty, I'd like to add the samples are on the back counter. They just arrived this morning, so for you.
Arrived this morning. Good.
Yeah. And secondly, I've had a few comments about the Lanier Village Estates historical plaque. I'm just going to call it that for my own terms. There's a piece of furniture where it used to be. It is going to be staying in the main clubhouse lobby, just on the wall to the, I don't know, north side of it, I guess the north side of that piece of furniture. So it's going to be very prominent, easy to read, and show your friends and family members. And that's it, but great job with everything that's going on there.
Kitty, thank you very much. And the next is Samaritan Fund with Jimmy Faulkner.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to report to you on your LVE Samaritans Fund, and I will be brief today, so okay. Our residents continue to contribute to this fund, and while we are progressing toward the 2024 goal, we have quite a ways to go to reach the goal. We do say a big thank you to those who have already given and encouraging everyone to support this most worthwhile local project. I would encourage all of you to attend our upcoming wine and cheese gathering sponsored by your LVE Samaritans Committee and the ACTS Legacy Foundation. That will occur in this room next Wednesday, September 18th, from 4 until 5 p.m. This will be a social event to give our residents an opportunity to visit together, as well as to hear a brief presentation concerning the LVE Samaritans Fund. Hopefully all of you have already signed up to attend, as we already have over 60 residents who have signed up. However, if you haven't, I would encourage you to sign up today on the sign-up sheet in the communications room. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. Next is the Employee Appreciation Fund with Chess Treadway.
In the last month, I've heard from a lot of residents who say, you know, this person in culinary went above and beyond what I expected. I've heard the same thing about maintenance people. I've heard the same thing about IT. And, you know, I've heard about housekeeping. People are saying, these employees are really going above and beyond what I expected. You heard the letter that Marie read from a deceased resident whose family felt that over in healthcare, it was outstanding. They contributed very generously. However, we have not contributed very generously so far this year. We're right at 50% of our goal. and we've got 2 months to go. So I encourage all of you who've been waiting for the last minute, say, it's time for me to contribute. And I hope that all of you that haven't will do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chess. Good job. The next is district representatives' comments and visitors' comments, if any. All right. The next meeting is October 10th at 9:30. And remember, once again, we will have passed out changes in the organization, particularly the marriage or alliance of RTI and resident board. So please bring your comments after you've read the material and any other comments you might have. With that, we adjourn the meeting. Thank you for being here.